Are you ready to start on this trim again? I did do the other side, and so now I have both sides done, and I will be going down the center. And I did say in the other video that I would make 3 passes. Sometimes I have to sew 4 times to make sure that my center is down good, but 3 times with the actual scraps. As you can see, it's pretty full, but you know, down the center there are spaces and that we have to fill up. But looking at it, does isn't it gorgeous? I just love all that scrappy stuff. Just look how pretty that is. All right, let's get started here. And we will work on completing the center here. And we're just going to pick up whatever is in our scrap pile and start sewing. And I will be sewing 4 times because I will be coming down one side of the center stuff and then the other side. So now I have a wave stitch on here so that I can, you know, just catch as much as I want to. I am going to again add stuff as I go. The more that you layer up, the prettier all this gets. I like to tuck the next one under the one that I'm working on. I just feel that like I get a smoother transition, nothing pulling or snagging that way. You don't want too long of continuous fabrics because then it kind of kills the scrappy look. Let's see. Okay. Get a little of this in there. Another thing I found about this, it's very therapeutic. It's just kind of repetitive. You do a little thinking along, but you know, mostly it's just kind of repetitive, and it's just kind of therapeutic. Just, you know, keep stitching. The other thing is to mix up your colors, of course, good, and your textures at times if you have texturized things like laces and things like that. Yarns, just fancy fabrics, whatever you want to incorporate. You have bits and pieces of those, that's a good thing to do too. Piece, so we'll cut it, and do have a actual gap here, So we're filling the gap here. Let's keep going here. Let's see, this one looks pretty good. Let's try it. Okay. Sometimes you can tuck under or let things overlap. In and around, you can twist. You can do anything you want to with this fabric to make it interesting, colorful, and blend. Okay, so as you see, I'm tucking this piece. Well, no, I'm not either. I'm going to bring it over a little bit because my edge is over here, so I will do it that way. Come down a little bit with this piece and then cut. And find me a different piece. What I got here? Let's see, a solid might look good. I don't have too many solids, but with solids I like to run something down that solid. Let's see what I might have. Not too much of a contrast there. Let me have this little bit of scarf material here. It's a little bit too wide. Let's cut it in half because it kind of curls up on itself, and that way it'll be kind of pretty. There you go. And I'm going to twist it a little bit so that it doesn't totally overshadow the solid. Okay, I've twisted a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Next piece up. Where are we going to go here? Pretty. Don't much like that one. This is another piece. Let's try that one. It's a scarf material. But it's a very, the center is pretty closed up right here, so I don't think I'll have to have that. Too worried about that. Okay. Come down through here. And you see this little piece flap here? I'm going to go under that. Let it tap over. There you go. All right, we're ready for something different. Let's see. A little piece of trim here. Cut off something, I don't remember what. But it has some little machine embroidery on it. I'm going to use it. All right, we need something to go under there. Kind of dark on this end. Let me throw some little selvage here. We'll play with that. Something that covers here. That's a little too wide. Wonder if here's a piece. That might do it. It's pretty wide too, but it's light colored. So it kind of breaks up the dark. And I only want it to go that far. So the bottom part down here is busy enough and covered, so we're just going to sew it down. Now we're going to make that fourth stitching pass. We're just going to turn it around and we're going to try to catch everything in the center that we didn't catch under the needle as we came down the other side. If we see anywhere that we want to add anything, we can here. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The more random and the less you try to make it perfect, the prettier it's going to come out. Just get that thread off there. All right. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Would you like to have a big long stretch of this beautiful scrappy trim to play with in your slow stitch and other sewing projects? And if you've watched many of my videos, you know I use it a lot in my as quilting, sashing, and things, and it's just perfect for that. It's just beautiful. For my kind of quilting, anyway. It's perfect. Okay. And if you don't mind, tearing up some old sheet, you get some really nice long pieces of foundation fabric. This was 1.5 inches. Strip that I'm building on, and that gives you, I think we measured it out, about 2.5 yards of trim. Now that's enough to do something with, and it can always be sewed together on the ends to make it even longer should you have a project. But most of us slow stitchers are doing smaller projects, so it's not like we have to have so much. But let's say you have a quilt that you want to sash in this, and you want some nice long pieces of sashing, then that's just sew your ends together, and you'll have it. just about to the end. Yeah. I didn't see any gaps that I needed to go back and fill in. Everything looked good as I went past it, so but we're going to look at it one more time and make sure. Let's see. Let's start at the end here. Let's look at this. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I just love that. I love that it's so random and just, but look how beautiful those scraps are turning out. My goodness, look at that. If you're doing projects, small projects, you make a piece like this, and let's say you want an orange focal. So you cut a section out and use what you need of it. Save the rest because it'll be ready for something else. So much fun. These are great for junk journalers because this is a great edge of the page trim. You can cut them and stack them on each other and make pockets and things like that. Just, I mean, it's just on and on the things you can play with these. Just look at that. Even though we repeat many of the fabrics, it just really, you just don't really focus on that because there's so much going on. Okay. And here we have an odd little square. Doesn't he make it cute? Okay. I have this one piece here that has a whole open loose edge. Now that bothers me a little bit. And I think I will come back and sew that down. But everything else along here, I'm happy with. So let's just go back and pick up that one little edge and get it sewed down. All right. Now part of the reason I did that was because that particular fabric would fray really bad. Now, you've got a lot of threads and things hanging off the side. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll turn it over and then I can see what I want to trim up, okay? And I can trim anything off that I don't want. You may want to leave that look. That may be exactly the look you want, all those little fringy threads. But meanwhile, you've got a gorgeous piece of trim here to play with. Okay. I hope this helps to inspire you to pull out some of those gosh awful piles of little strippy stuff that you can't imagine what to do with and turn it into something really, 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 really beautiful. Okay, let's see. Let's wrap it up here. For those of you that like to make bowls and boxes, layering these different strips on top of each other would make beautiful bowls and boxes. This would make a gorgeous gift to give to someone who is into stitching and slow stitching. You make a roll like that and gift it. Wouldn't that make a gorgeous gift? I think so. All right. Thank you for watching.